Shearer.
Good evening, and welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer. On tonight's episode, I'm going to be joined by musician Casey, like Shearer.
Prince.
Is it
Sting.
You said Shearer to me, mate.
It's my
Before we
favourite.
started recording, you said Shearer. That sounded like I get the winner.
I believe it's my favourite.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Mate, thanks very much for coming in for a chat. It's great to have you.
I'm glad to be here, man.
Excellent, man. What's been happening for you recently, mate? Musically, what's been going on?
Well, as we've just discussed, there's been a hell of a lot going on.
You're just over in Arn there doing a
I
wee
was
number.
just over in Arran having an exciting adventure over on the wee island at Arran. I'll be back as well.
So
even
where was
after
it?
my-
Where were you playing in Arn?
Playing in the Pierhead Tavern in Lumlash.
Right.
It was the first time I'd been back in Arran in 25 years, and it turned out I lived in Lumlash for like a couple of weeks through the summer.
Did you?
Aye, so I was walking through by things and all this nostalgia's coming and I'm pointing things at. I played mini golf there when I was a wee kid. Like,
I'm familiar with this place
I'm
here.
sure
aye.
my dad gave me a round next to that bin.
That's good, right? So it was familiar to you anyway.
It was a weird wee one actually, being back at an island and playing again.
Aye.
It's a strange feeling.
So
You can't really escape the crowds. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
If
there's
you're in-
nowhere to
if you're in
go.
Glasgow, like, and it all goes really, really bad, I can jump my
Right.
taxi and I can get to fuck, right?
The exit hatch, mate.
I can't swim either, and I don't deal well with big bodies of water, so I'm stuck in the middle of the ferry, just holding on to my guitar on the way over.
So, like at the where were you playing again?
Playing
in
at the Pierhead
the
Tavern.
Pierhead Tavern, and that was
Gosh.
through the guys
Wake-
at
Wake
Wake Up the Sun Music.
It was, aye,
Excellent,
big
man.
up to the guys at Wake Up the Sun, actually.
Yeah, man, they've got a lot happening for the kind of musicians on the scene in that area. haven't they, man, they're doing
Definitely.
brilliant.
I
Man.
mean, I could definitely say they have been a big part in me getting back in and playing music again.
Post-pandemic kind of thing.
Post-pandemic, I mean, I was after the pandemic, I kind of fell out of music. It's
Yeah,
a bit like she's like, music to me is like that bird that crazy bird that you always end up kind of going back to every now and again. Then you fall out with her because issues come up. She's a cruel vixen.
what an analogy, mate. What an analogy.
Do you know, I
that
was
is.
thinking about that in the train on the way in. I'm like, there's things I want to talk about,
Mhm.
and that was one of the analogies.
Well, mate, the comparison is completely valid, mate, and I can totally understand that feeling, mate. Coming out of the pandemic was, there was points in time when I thought, am I ever going to play music for a living again? Like, is that it done? You
I
know what I mean?
definitely-
Have I got to the
I definitely thought that. Like, I was at a stage and I was like, no. And by the time I was studying radio and broadcasting, and my idea actually was to get back into it, and I was wanting to stay within the music industry, but I think I'd fell out with live performance. And
was this before the pandemic? You mean?
before the pandemic? I'd burnt myself out.
Yeah.
I'd
Playing
playing
pubs and stuff.
in pubs constantly, doing open mics.
It's hard to keep up the pace. You know, there's a lot of
Definitely,
factors.
all the
You know?
drinking, all the everything else that comes along with it, and I just burnt myself out. I burnt my voice out, which was a really big thing for me. Like, I could feel it at the time, and I think I
Yeah.
don't know what happened, but after 2 years of sitting in the house, and I never really practiced, I never really played in the house, not much, for about the first year and a half, and it done my voice like total wonders.
Yeah,
And
man.
it was just a general voice rest. I think that's what I kind of needed.
Absolutely. If you're if you're playing in noisy pubs every week, like, the voice gets put through its paces, doesn't it? It gets rough treatment.
I was
in this line of work.
working in the Clutha at the same time as well, so you're working in a loud, noisy pub, and you're having to run a bar and shout at people or shout over bands and stuff like
Aye.
that. And you're doing that when you're not singing. You forget that while you're constantly using your voice, even when you're shouting, you're still straining it.
Totally, man. Yep.
You think it's just singing that strains your voice. It's not.
No. Yeah, mate. So, well, that's interesting, mate. So, but I think that's a good. It's a nice moment in some ways to come to, and a nice understanding to come to, because you realise the importance of it, and you know
Aye.
you've got time to fix it so your voice can come back.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. When I get back, I started playing a couple of wee open mic nights. It was actually Crawford's open mic night in Corona and Sean's.
Right, yep.
Um,
Crawford was on episode 2 talking
Mr.
about
Crawford
that. Yep,
Smith.
yep.
So I
Shout out to Crawford, man.
shout out to Crawford, man. I went in and I played. He gave me a wee slot, and it was nice. Do you know what I mean? And it was nice to kind of play again, and I got the buzz back,
Yeah, you're
and my
feeling
voice had kind of come back, and I'm like, fucking hell, I've never sounded like this for years.
it.
And a couple of songs I've been practicing just in the house, and thought, oh, right, maybe I could get back into this again. Do you know what I mean? And Wake Up the Sun, definitely. This would have been last year, and then over the course of time, Crawford introduced me to Wake Up the Sun a few months ago, and decided that I was leaving bar work altogether. That was it. I'm done.
No,
mate.
once you saw there was gigs on the go again, it was
Gigs
like,
on the go. There's an opportunity to get out there and play music and do what I love doing.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I liked working in bars. Working in bars is good fun. Do you know what I mean? But it's mentally and physically draining. People don't realise. They think it's so easy.
Aye, I know,
but
just
it's-
turning up, but it's not, man.
It's not.
I think you're like
physically
putting a
mentally
lot of the same problems as the musical lifestyle, aren't you? Like you're
Aye.
exposed to a lot of drink, and like there's a lot of partying, and
draining. Well, do you know what? Funnily enough, since I stopped working in the bars, I've stopped drinking as much. Right, imagine
Funnily
that.
enough.
Imagine that. Right? I've stopped drinking. Like, I mean, I have a couple of drinks a week now. I have a couple of half pints. I was saying to you earlier, I've got about half pints through my gigs, but
That's good,
No.
man, that's a positive sign. You know what I mean?
no anything. Well, you need to watch your voice as well. That's another thing. I've regained this voice, and I can't get back down that slippery slope.
Aye, yeah.
And
You don't want to be sick of
destroy
it, and
destroy it in 2 years,
Yeah,
and then
mate, totally.
and
man.
then repeat the whole same process again. It's like that bird.
to bring us back
I'm
to
gonna go back,
that
innit?
analogies, you know. Well, mate, I can see what you mean, but it's a hard, in a lot of ways, it's a very, very hard line of work. You know what I mean? Like it's emotionally draining and taxing in a way that people don't really
Aye.
think about either.
Aye,
you
it
know
is.
what I mean? And,
It is.
and that can become like, how much fulfillment am I actually getting here? And that.
Oh,
So
I mean, the music is just the same, but the whole thing for me is the drunk assholes I need to deal with, maybe try to knock out my mic or maybe only liking the music or shouting, play Jerry Cinnamon. You know what I mean? That I can deal with. Do you know what I mean? But when you've got 20 people shouting, "Can I get a pint now?" I've been waiting for 10 minutes and then having to chuck out drunk people because of
God, there's a
shat
you-
themselves.
there's
and
the similarity-
spread it in the toilets.
Oh my
and-
God.
Oh,
Is that something you came up again?
oh man, aye. And then one of the worst ones was when I first started working
Jesus
in
Christ,
Glasgow in one of the pubs. Was a regular thing where they would have a Friday jam session, and there was one guy would turn up. I'm not going to say the venue or the jam, but there was one guy turned up every. He was a punter, and he would wear a diaper, a male diaper,
Mm-hmm.
and he would leave said male diaper stashed down the back of the toilet
Oh.
every Friday. So for the first couple of weeks, we would finish up my Friday night and we would have to go and clean up the toilet, and it was like a Rochambeau at the end of the night to see what guy.
Who was having to cope with it.
So after about 4 or 5 weeks, what I decided was I'm going to put a black bin bag in there,
Mhm.
right, about 4 or 5 o'clock when this guy's in, because we know
Just-
he's in it at the
aye.
same sort of times. We know when it kind of happens because we started checking on it.
Yeah.
And we put a black bin bag, and 2 weeks later, he filled the black bin bag twice, and then the third time we put it out, it was never there again. And we never seen it again.
What, the bin bag was?
The bin bag got left out for 3 or 4 weeks, but it was never filled again, and we never found an nappy again. I think because we'd acknowledged the fact that
That
we
it
were
was
stashing
there,
it away.
yeah,
like
man.
we were acknowledging it, but I think the fact that we put a black bin bag out right next to the bin,
Aye.
that
Aye, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
but that was my first couple of weeks working it up.
And what this? So this was when
And everybody seen it. It's like, oh, that's
was this like in the middle of the pandemic?
no.
coming back?
This
No,
was
years ago.
years
Jesus,
ago,
man, aye, that's the
Aye.
kind of shit you're up against, isn't it, man?
This was like
Literally,
me. This is like 8 years ago or something. When I first started in a certain place.
Fuck, that is enough to want to keep you out of that line of work.
Well,
anyway,
I
mate.
know, and I stuck on it for 7 or 8 years. Hence why now's the time. 30 and 34 now.
Aye,
I don't like to say that out loud, but
I know, mate. I'm struggling with the 35 and all.
can I say that I'm 32 because we had 2 years? Like, do you get a repeat?
I think you can get away with it. I'm sure the audience can keep that on the DL. Not, I mean, I think we're good. Not
Just don't tell anybody else.
Aye, mate. No, that's great. Right, so like, what was the process like when you first started playing? How did you get into music? How did you first pick up a guitar? What was your musical upbringing? I don't actually know much about your musical upbringing.
My musical upbringing was very much through my dad, and we got to my dad's every second weekend, and he would have his mates up, and they would all sit and be playing guitar,
Right.
and we would kind of get sent to bed about 9-10 o'clock. Then the boys would start getting pissed, and we just had that. So it was like fires at the back garden every other weekend.
Yep.
The guys all running about playing guitars, and
I
it
had
was
a lot of that
just-
myself growing
it
up. My
was
mum
just
and
that
that's mates. Not
It was
I mean,
just that kind of thing, but we loved it. Do you know what I mean? We loved it. And then when I was about 13, I decided, right, I'm going to pick up guitar. The only reason I actually picked up a guitar was because I didn't want to play keyboard and music. Because keyboard was shite. And I didn't like the teachers. But all the boys that played guitar got to go and sit in a wee room out with the class.
Right.
And they could go and practice guitar nice and quietly. And I says, can I go and play guitar? And this teacher didn't like me. None of the teachers like me. But this teacher especially didn't like me. And this teacher says, if you go in there, you'll disrupt them. I said, no. I said, I want to go in there and play guitar.
Mm-hmm.
She went, right. She went, right, I'll make a deal with you. You've got 2 classes this week. If you go in there and you come back to me within those 2 classes and you've learned something on the guitar, I'll let you go in there and you can sit and play guitar with them there. But you have to prove to me.
Aye, right. So
You're
you'd
willing
be challenged to
you're
get through.
willing to learn, right? As much as I didn't like her, actually, I maybe or something. Thinking about the story now, bitch. She made this deal with me, and I shook her hand, and I went into this room, and fucking sure enough, all the boys were farting about. Right, they had guitar teachers. These boys were a wee bit better off than me. They had guitar teachers, and they all had their own guitars. And I was kind of sat there, and there was this wee kind of needy guy. And they all knew me as the class joker. You know what I mean? I was like, right, this is a deal. And I sat and I farted about me. I had a joke the first day, and I kind of watched what they were playing, and I tried to learn a wee bit like Nirvana or something like that. And it never really clicked. And I went home, and I knew I had a guitar, and my stepdad had a guitar in the house, so I went home, and I picked out this guitar, and it had 2 strings on it, right, and it was the tap and the bottom string. The rest of the middle strings were gone, and they were rusty. It was dusty as anything. I picked this old guitar out, and I sat and I plucked the 2 strings out one night, and I went into the school the next day, and I sat down with these guys, and what they were doing is they would have a wee meeting up in the guitar room, because they were kind of geeky boys, right?
Aye.
But they could go and hide up in the music hall so they wouldn't get bullied, basically,
Aye.
at lunchtime. And I found out about this, and I asked them, and I went and I joined them, and they showed me Californication.
But that was funny. It was a very early song for me to learn.
Californication, and it was a right, and it was that wee bit. And then they showed me a couple other the follow on, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. It was 7 notes or something, right? 7 or 8 notes, right? And then they showed me a chord, and it was the A minor chord.
Aye, when they wee build up.
And I go, right, boom, and they went, right, sure that, and I learned this in like 2 minutes. Right, I had it down. I'm like, fucking hell! And it was that moment I realised, actually, I could do this.
Aye,
I've picked that
You've
up.
got the hang of
I
it.
just picked that up
aye.
in 2 minutes. That's
Aye.
not that hard. But I'd been watching this all my life.
You've been watching everybody doing
Right,
it.
I've seen
Yep,
this
yep.
all my life, and I'd went, right, and just sat down, and I sat down for about half an hour with the guitar, and then the next day I went into class, all bold as fuck. Right, I can do this. And I was like, right, let me show you. Before she even asked me, I went, right, let me show you. She was like, what? I'm like, I'm going to show you so I can go,
Just
so I
built
can
it
go,
out early,
so I
good,
can
yeah,
go
yeah.
back, so I can go, because that's just me. And it's like, right, I've got this down.
Aye, here you
That's
go,
me
aye,
in.
aye, aye.
Right, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound.
Totally, man. No,
And
that's it.
I'm like, I know this. I know it. And I sat down and and I got the wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of looked at me, and then I played the chord, and she went, and there was this disappointment, but at the same time, like it was like a proud disappointment.
I'm sure the
right?
teachers have to
Right,
deal with
she
that.
had this
a lot.
thing in her, because she saw me as this wee cheeky bam.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But all the teachers knew that I could, if I applied myself, I could do something,
yeah, yeah.
right? And I, you know what I mean? I could achieve. Is the
Yeah.
way they always put it.
Aye.
Which they were probably right. Well, did they know I did ED?
Aye.
But
Was that the
they-
case? Aye. Aye.
as far as I'm aware,
right.
they we had shared that look, and that was it. Was ever since then, and every night after that, I got strings on my guitar. I think I asked my stepdad, and he went and got me like Elixir strings or something.
Mm-hmm.
And or
The
even
best.
even my dad.
Don't put.
aye.
I don't even buy another set of
Do you
strings.
know?
No.
I'm
I've got the last mail. You know, I'm using 13s. They don't. I'm not changing them as quick. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? But
see. I'll buy a set of Didarios every 2 weeks or something.
aye.
It's
It depends what you're doing.
£20
You know,
£20 a month. But
aye.
I'm playing, so I'm gigging twice a week, 3 times a week.
That's
You're practicing
a lot. You need
3-4
that.
times a week. You need that.
You need
And with the Elixirs, I'd be paying £20 every 3-4 weeks anyway. So, aye. I know I have a few guys that keep telling me this. Like,
No,
you should put nothing else on your guitar. These purists.
the elixir debate. We can get back to the elixir
You
debate.
can get to fuck, right? I'm done with your elixirs and your elixir purists.
Elixir gatekeepers.
Aye. It's like no other string should ever exist. And
No. It's totally. I'm not that bad, but I do. I absolutely use them like that, but I don't chastise people for not using them. But sorry, mate, I cut you off there. Go back to what you were saying. Sorry. So you were on. The teacher basically was ripping it. She was proud. Of it.
She was a proud disappointment. But no, it was after that. So I started getting guitar lessons at school. Which I'd get really fed up because it was the guy who was trying to teach us. It was Apache, and then he taught us something else. I can't remember it. He taught us just a couple of wee ditties and a couple of chords and stuff like that. But I was getting him. And I was trying to learn Pink Floyd, and and that was me. I was just wanting to learn Pink Floyd. I just wanted to play like Dave Gilmour.
Mate, I totally.
I still want to play like Dave Gilmour, and I still can't play like Dave Gilmour.
When I left school, it was like. So I left school and went to college. 16. And the first course that I went to was like a course in Clydebank College before it moved and that, when it was up the top of the hill, right? And it was like that was basically it. I went for school is playing Pink Floyd all day in Red Eye Studios in Clydebank. That was literally with the transition. Not me.
That's how you do it, man. That was me. 14, 15, 16, 17, 34.
Mate,
still doing it. I'm still playing it.
So that's like your. So that's like your that kind of period. You know what I mean? So you went from like watching your folks' mates and that, watching your.
Well, it was watching that. I started playing after I'd started playing. It wasn't until I was 21. It was actually my 21st birthday party. It was my first gig.
Right.
It was at a hippie commune. I had my first birthday party, and what we did was we hooked up a backline, and we set up this.
What age were you? 21.
I was 21.
21, right.
21, man. And then that was my birthday party, and we decided we'd just have a jam.
Aye.
Instead of setting up music, we set up like a DJ kind of booth, and we had they can bounce your tunes on after later
Aye,
on. I think
aye,
it went
aye.
on at 4 or 5 in the morning. Everybody was drunk and homemade cider and all that was mental. That's definitely not a story that I'm going to tell. We'll talk about that later. Right, you can ask me about that. There's too many daft things happened that I'm not willing to discuss.
Right.
Too many names that I could
That's fine,
implicate
right.
and stuff like that.
That
That
makes
was
sense.
crazy.
Yeah, cool. So that was your first gig?
That was the first gig, but the first
So we went
official
for
gig.
just jamming in studios and
Just
stuff,
jamming,
like,
jamming with mates and stuff like that.
Yep,
Do you know
yep.
what I mean? When we were younger.
jamming covers like Floyd, the classics.
Oh
you know what I mean?
man, I of course. Bob Dylan, Leonard Skinner, you know, and then Ryan Adams. I don't know. There's others. I could go through that whole set list, then Pile and the Teenies, and you know everything. But started trying to write my own stuff a wee bit later. But it was after my 21st, my first real gig was in a Masonic hall underneath the all-seeing eye.
There you go, mate.
I know I make it sound so ominous. It was fucking ominous. And it was like, you know, I don't know if you've ever been in a Masonic hall, right? But
There's a couple.
There's like
well,
a throne set where this stage is set, right? And you get 3 chairs, so you get the head chair and then you get the 2 chairs
at the side.
right? And then you get a bunch of chairs sat out in front of you. But this hall was tiny. It was much bigger than this studio, right? And there's a tiny wee bar next to it, but the bar is like £2 of whiskey, right? It's absolute. They're not making any money after this. This is just buy by the bottle, and they've got a drinks license. They've got like 2 taps, 10 or cider, or maybe 3 if you're lucky. They'll have a Guinness. You know what I mean? And everything you're buying by can, or you're buying by bottle, or it's whatever spirits they've got. It's no, you're not getting Grey Goose or anything.
No,
you're getting Glens. Right, you're paying £1.50 for it, and you can like it. Draft, it's coming out a bottle, and don't dare complain. Right, but that was it. And I think was it the first one I played? Was it the first one or the second one? Because I played there again. I don't think I made any money. I think they paid me like 40 quid or something like that. But it was just.
So what is that? Just
the whole buzzy, Whitney. Just the whole buzz. 21. It was in
Aye.
Colburn, and it was the Colburn Masonic Hall, and I just wanted a gig. Do you know what I mean? I loved the vibe. It was like I was working at the time. It was nothing to do with money or anything.
You weren't like working out there as a working musician or anything.
No,
you were just young.
no. I was just dipping my toes in the water. I wanted to play gigs, and my part we would go up. I'd get invited to houses, and people like, let's yourself. I'll bring the guitar, and you'd end up playing with them. I'm like, well, maybe I could go and do this in a pub, because you go to pubs and you see bands
if you're all liking it, then.
You go to pubs and you see bands playing. I'm like, right, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could get paid for it a wee bit. And we did the first couple of gigs. The second gig in the Masonic Hall, one of my mates was buying me whiskey and coke, and he kept buying them and kept buying them. But he didn't tell me it was double or triple jacks. Were the tiniest wee bit of Coca-Cola in it, right? But I was already half cut right before I started, because it was getting good to me, because the first gig went really well, as it does. Do you know what I mean? Young, and you've got that buzz about you. I can nail this. I played for 3 hours last time. No bother. So I was halfway through the gig and I couldn't walk, right? And what I did was I walked.
Was this the same night?
No, this was maybe about a month later after the first Masonic one. And I goes in halfway through the gig, switched all my gear off, and walked down and went down to the pub down the road. Taking everybody with me.
I'm assuming you didn't get asked back, yeah?
No, I never played there again. They quickly phoned me the next day and told me to come back and get my stuff. I went back and it was still on.
It was still turned on.
I turned the guitar down. I thought I switched it off. I turned the guitar down. My amp was roasted. I think it was heating up the hall.
That's a well done, man.
And they never asked me back.
It was
the second gig there. But that was it. Fucking rock and roll, man. It was brilliant.
So where was that about? Where is this kind of area?
This was Colburn, down in South Lanarkshire. So I'm from Westmago originally. And that was it was just a wee village. Do you know what I mean? Much like yourself. And there wasn't much music scene where I was from. So I mean, they did a gig in a pub every now and again. That's why people were shouting out for it.
Aye.
So we decided to kind of start something, and it was like me, and a couple of my mates kind of tried to get involved. We started a band, and then we did a thing for a wee while. It was me and my wee cousin, a couple of my mates, and we ran some kind of gigs. And they went really well, kind of thing. But again, it was all kind of sparse. It wasn't until I moved into the city when I was 27 that I properly get into playing music, and getting the idea of doing this as a proper
job.
career.
Yeah, totally,
do you know what I mean?
So the city was a big deal for me. Like,
city changed it all for me.
Aye, I could say not so much Glasgow necessarily, but for me, I didn't really play much in Glasgow. But when I lived abroad, and I was playing in a city and in multiple cities, I was like, oh, this is a different kettle of fish. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can get, like, not right at this moment, things aren't that magical just now for gigs, right? But you can get plenty of gigs down here, and people want live music. That's it. It's usually fine. But when I was in Perth in Australia, for example, living in it was 2 million people or something, which isn't like huge. I think the city itself is actually quite similar in size to Glasgow, like same kind of population density, but more people in the area go to that city kind of thing. But it's after working as a musician and living in a city, I realised the potential fully. Like, I was busking every day, making good money busking, right? So that was fine. But then the constant activity, the amount of different nights for musicians, the amount of open mic sessions and jam nights, and then people looking for cover singers like me, like, just so many. Like, if you're in a city, you're just like overwhelmed with options. You know what I mean? Like, it's. And again, I don't know if Glasgow's quite like that just now, but when I was in that kind of situation, mate, I was finally like, oh no, this is sound. I can see how people can be a singer for their life.
I'm finding Glasgow is kind of starting to become a wee bit more like that again. I've just started back doing this full time again. I'm getting 1 gig, 2 gigs a weekend, and then I run my wee open mic in the Clissa on a Wednesday night.
What time's that on from?
7 p.m. Sorry. In the Clissa from 7 p.m. Every Wednesday. But it's coming back. I'm slowly just dipping my foot back in the water again. Do you know what I mean? I've got other things that I'm doing through the week. So my through the week things, I'm back in my building game and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, aye. What do you do in 95, man?
So, I wouldn't even say 95. it's just whenever I've got something on my plasterer, and a painter and decorator, bricky, but man of many trades.
Oh right, yeah, I didn't know that, mate. That's
I did that.
Cool.
So I moved into Glasgow when I was 27, and I retired from the building game. See my air quotes there. I retired, or that was the plan, and I ended up working in bars and playing music. But I've went back to it. I've left the bars. Aye. So maybe 2 or 3 days a week I've got a wee job here or there.
Right. Aye, you're still out getting that a bit.
Started with another guy, and we've got a wee kind of private company happening now. We've got sort of a few jobs. I know advertising as much now because I've got quite a lot on.
Just getting back into the side of it, and especially if you
and
don't
I'm fed up getting phone calls and having to turn people down.
You want to keep music going to some degree. You don't want to go back into full time.
No. And it's, if I can keep it to 2 or 3 days a week, and I've got 4 days a week left to focus on what's most important is getting back into playing music, and being able to make enough money so that I don't need to be doing anything else, and I can have 3-4 days a week to myself and go and live my life, because I feel like I've missed it.
Aye, mate.
You know what I mean? 7 years of working in a bar, you don't get.
No, you don't get that back, man.
You don't get a life.
I totally understand, mate. I was out doing some labour and that as well, like through the pandemic and that, and it was like, you have to make a call. I have to make a call mentally. Like, I have to make sure, like, either I'm in that kind of lifestyle or I'm doing like music lifestyle, because it's too much to organise. You're constantly contacting venues and emailing people and all that through the week. You're taking phone calls. You're trying to be in touch with folk, and if you're working all day, you miss out on so many. You know what I mean? Like,
so the Wake Up the Sun is a perfect example of that. Like, I'd be sitting at my work sometimes, or no, sitting at my work. That's a bad advertisement. I'd be at my work sometimes, and my phone would go, and I would just sometimes, you'll check it, and it'd be Wake Up the Sun, and it's a gig, but it's there, and it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And if you're not on that straight away, then
somebody else going to
somebody
grab
else
it.
is going to be on it. Do you
Wake
know
Up
what I
the Sun. I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but Wake Up the Sun is Wake Up the Sun Music's a group of musicians around the kind of Ayrshire area. Is that right?
Ayrshire in Glasgow. And
Ayrshire in Glasgow. I'm obviously kind of on the outskirts of it a bit.
Aye.
You know what I mean? But there's like a barrage of musicians are all helping each other get gigs. They're all kind of promoting each other a bit. Like it's a real positive place to be if you're a musician trying to get back into it. Do you know what I mean?
Again, one of the main reasons that I've been able to quit my job and get back onto this is all these big up to Willie Smith for all these gigs they're promoting. And
Wally, Willie's
and then
Willie's going to be on the podcast
sending it away.
We get a full explanation of everything and how we got in about it and stuff. I'm really curious about all that, but he seems like a really sound guy, but.
No, I'm quite curious to hear it.
I
think we've got a meeting with Willie coming up soon in Glasgow.
Aye, good,
to discuss what the future holds for everybody.
Aye, no, that's great, man. That's great to know, because if it's going to be like pushing forward the vibe that's already been present in that group, it's like a very positive thing for musicians in the area, mate. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
No, that's really cool, mate. That's really, really cool. So, what would you say, like, as sort of getting back into it, what hurdles are you facing now? Do you know what I mean? Like,
do you know there was a wee flash in my mind there where we talked about some certain subjects we were going to bring up over the podcast, and one of them was going to be concur. So that flashed in my head there as you said hurdle. Maybe even before it.
That certainly could be described as a hurdle. Do you want to tell people what concur is?
Can I say the C word?
Yeah.
Cunts. That's what concur. Cunts. So,
but you'll give them a bit better.
Right.
Some
so
more details.
Concur is a cunty payment system that Green King use, which is I'm quite sure they're an American company.
A huge chain of pubs, are it?
A huge chain of, I think they're an English company. I don't know if they're Scottish. I think they're actually English. I don't even know if they're English. Green King. We should research that. But whoever
they use this payment system.
Green King, they decide to use this Concur payment system, which I think is an American company. I'm sure it's an American company. But what you have to do is you send a request in to Concur. And the request is to send an invoice about the gig that you've played. Right. So you send the request. Once the request gets approved, I know people are already going to be lost now. Right? The request
diving for the click button.
Fast forward 10 seconds. The request gets approved, right? Then you send away your expense form. And your expense form gets audited, and then it gets approved, and then it gets sent away for payment. So there's 5 different processes you need to go through. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it in the right order, or if you mess it up in some way, if you miss number one of your invoices, then it gets sent back and you have to do it again.
Yeah.
And it can take between 2 to 6 weeks for you to get paid. For any working musicians there, I was saying to you that I've played 4 gigs in the last 4 weeks, and I'm waiting to get paid. I've got another gig this weekend, I know that I'm going to need to wait another 2 weeks to get paid for 3 weeks.
So you've done 4 gigs in the last 4 weeks, and you're waiting to be paid for all of them still?
Aye. No, wait now. I've done 3, is it 3 in the last 4? 3 in the last 5. Do you know, you get lost.
So say it's 3 in the last 5, right?
Even 3 in the last 5, 3 in the last kind of month.
You've got 3. That's no like a sustainable method when you're trying to run your life off of your income as a musician, and nobody in any other job would go along with that. Do you know what I mean? It's a kind of
you're in the security knowing that once the payment, because the payment comes through. But what's happened right now is they have like a quarterly audit. These American companies, and because of the quarterly audit, then they'll hold on to the wages. That's crazy, man. And
So
trying to
even-
get
so
try to get
even if
any help,
Everton-
try to get any help or any kind of thing, mate, is
So even if
probably
Everton all
impossible.
steps have been followed perfectly,
You could still wait.
and then they go through this quarterly
Something could
audit,
you're
you're just expected to wait. No,
Yeah.
that's a unacceptable system. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's aye, and you just kind of sit there. Do you know what I mean?
and on the other end of the scale, and I'm sure like everybody knows, like you can play a pub gig and just be paid on the night, and then that's it.
Wait, did I say
Do you
3 over the last 5? I
Aye.
meant 1, just in case the tax man's listening. Fuck. Can we edit that out?
That's all good. That's all good.
That shit goes through my bank. They can trace that.
Aye. Well, what this is it, mate. I think like that's fucking the amount of hassle that you're having to go through. Do you know what I mean? Like that is a nightmare. But see, when you're actually trying to run your life around your gig payments, I don't see how
Aye.
anybody can.
No, I mean,
be
it
alright
should
with
all
that.
be. Like, I don't mind passing an invoice on to somebody and getting paid cash in hand, so they can at least hand to their accountant and say, look, we paid them this much. They know that they're tax aware.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know there's certain bars that do that where it's just a bit of paper and it's all they need is they pass it
Like
on their
most
accountant.
90%, like
That's
the
what's all covered.
only people you have any sort of invoice problems with are the big chains.
Aye,
Like,
aye.
and there's other
G1 used to be, for me G1 were horrible, but because we were doing it once a week, we ran an open mic for G1 up in Ashton Lane, and because we were doing it once a week, and it was a regular thing, but the first initial payment took like 4 or 5 weeks to come through.
Yeah.
It was only like 80-90 quid. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't much, but it took 4 or 5 weeks. Then after that, it was like it was there. It was, do you know what I mean? It was there every week.
What you because you've waited that time and then
But
you've
it was
done
the initial, like, even with-
consistent gigs with them. You're
But
then
it was
getting
because
paid
I've
every
got
week.
one a week, you're absolutely fine. Do you
Aye,
know what
but
I mean?
that's
But
not-
then
if
you
you're
hold
only-
on to your money for 4 weeks.
But if that's only working out sound because you're due payments from them in the weeks following, right?
Aye.
But if you're just going in and randomly doing a one-off gig with that venue, then having to go through all that hassle, and then sometimes worse, like even that some companies, it's 3 weeks. You invoice and you wait 3 weeks. That's all right. I can cope with that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Aye.
but I think like it's
They were another one. They screwed us over, and they just let us know one night that we're changing the bar up. You're not on next week.
who's this?
G1.
G1.
It was the Lane bar,
Right.
and they basically they double booked us. They wanted us to change. They asked me 1 week. It's weird. They asked me 1 week, will you change for the Tuesday to the Wednesday? We ran an open mic on the Tuesday, and we agreed. And then we turned up the Wednesday after it, and we were double booked with somebody else who'd been running the Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So we just told them, well, you need to pay the 2 years.
Aye.
I could have
that's-
been here yesterday.
Aye, and I would have been booked in with some, but like I could have taken.
What
all
happened? And I
bookings,
asked them, what happened yesterday? They went, nothing. I'm like, well, why would you cancel me yesterday to have nothing on and then double book us for the night? It's just. And then the next week they're like, nah, don't come back.
That's unfortunate way to treat people, isn't it? I know.
And then changed up the whole style of the bar.
It can be quite a part of the reason, like when we're saying it's no like hunky dory. It can be pretty,
No,
pretty
no, it's
toxic environment when you're dealing with that kind of stuff. Do you know
It
what
is,
I mean?
and
Like,
you're indispensable. Do you know what I mean? You're expendable.
well,
sorry.
and it's
You
made
should.
you're
You
made
should.
to know it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
You're expendable.
aye.
You should be indispensable. Is what I mean.
I think like it's obviously not always like that, because like any time I come up against any of that kind of stuff, usually I just bail and look for gigs with people that are cool, and the places that I go
Aye.
and play on a consistent level are usually sound. I've went through a good few gigs with them, and you both treat each other well. Everybody promotes the nights, you know. It's not like
Aye. There's definitely some really cool bars out there.
man.
I mean, and like the thing with the whole backlash of the concuss system again is like, so I'm playing the Scotia the 21st October, so this Friday coming. I'll be playing the Scotia, which I love that bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, same with the Clither. The two
Yeah,
of them hold
two
a
very
really they hold
arguably
a-
the most well-known bars
Aye,
for music, and
they hold
you know what I mean?
a really warm, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
a place in my heart. That's where I started out playing when I was playing in Glasgow. So I'll be in there on Friday, but that's why I continuously go back to these bars, although the payment system's a bit fucked. But
do they all use that as well? Aye.
the Cluth I don't, but the Scotia deck is already a Green King.
Oh, aye, so that's that back to the big chains,
and it's that as well. Even though this big chain, they're what they are. Some of the bars that they own,
are still,
you can't judge the owners, and you can't judge the staff. You can't blame the booking managers, and a lot of bands have been doing this and shouting back at the book managers. It's not their fault. They're not in charge of this system.
You have, as long as everybody accepts before a booking is made that they know that that's what system is being used.
Aye,
then that's it. You've got to cope with it.
Do you know what I mean? You can't go back and hate on the staff or hating on the bars.
No, never not. And
I understand why people don't want to go back and play because of the system, and it's unfortunate because you might have a really good crowd.
People, you might
have a really good crowd in that bar. I know I've got a few bars that use that system, and you always get a good reception. Yeah. And that's why I love going back.
Yeah, totally.
And it's that.
You don't want that to hinder that process, and for anybody else or moving forward. But it's like, you'll cope with it because you have to. But that's fine. I can totally understand why you would. Know what I mean? But it's a pretty fucked up system. Do you know what I mean? It's not like especially when I know that 90% of the venues that I play will you just sign a form, and then you sign a form, but that, like,
your beer tokens.
That's it. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's what we're calling it these days.
And I'm almost certain that these venues are no like doing anything illegal. So it's certainly possible that the big chain venues don't need to operate through these companies like Event UK and Concur and whatever else.
It's just to cover the right arse with their accountants and stuff like that, just in case.
I know, but it sucks, you know what I mean?
It does. First back on us, it's that trickle down system, do you know what I mean, that they're all talking about? But all in all, it's a fun and joy, like, it's a very joyous time. It's always an adventure, I'll tell you that much.
It's a lifestyle that is very, it's very like, it's never the same, do you know what I mean? Like, you've got even if you go to a place you've played 100 times, like, it's all generally be a different group of people, different songs will hit, you know. Like, I'm starting to get this nomadic lifestyle about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm travelling. Oh well, I was in Arran another week there. I'll be in, on the other side of Glasgow, one side of Glasgow, where I'm going Shettleston in a couple of weeks. Even Shettleston's a bit big ups to Shettleston though. I've been in the Gartoker bar, but no, I'm all I never stuck in one place, which I was very much when you were working behind the bar. You know what I mean? That's like it's a if you compare it to like work behind the bar, that like you've got that same sense of like, I'm in this place again, but when you're the musician playing it, you're getting so much more praise and like good vibes than the person that's working behind the bar. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty tough in comparison.
I'll take my ego been bigged up any day over tips. I'm still getting paid barely now. No, that was a big thing for me, going from making £10 an hour, working 7 hours a night. Yeah. I'm watching these guys play music for tours and getting. So you were while you were working, before you started out doing it properly, you were watching, or did you just mean in the? Well, you were in it. I was in it. I was working in the Cluther. Aye. Do you know what I mean? So it's a live music bar. Yeah, so Friday, Saturday, it's 7 days a week. You know what I mean? You're watching some guy sit up on the stage and play. And making a living at it. And making a living off it. And I've seen it for years, and I know I used to do it, and I thought, no, it just was like a light bulb moment. No, I'm loving it now. That's good. It's I get opportunities like this. Do you know what I mean? Mate, no, I appreciate that, mate. And that's quality, man. Like, I think like that's what really interests me, is like when people make that moment, make that switch. The moment when people make that switch would be the right way to say that. Can edit that? Use that. Take two. That's the bit that really interests me, mate. Like, whether it's you're an actor or a musician or an athlete or an artist, whatever it happens to be. Like, I love
the idea when people go like that. Oh no, it just becomes this thought's so normal for me now that it's obscene to think I would do anything else. You know that I'm focused on this path, I'm working towards this goal, and it's because I'm getting fulfillment out it on a soul level. You know what I mean? Like I think
we all hit a fork at one point.
Yeah, man.
I think everybody hits a wee fork
in the life path.
You know what I mean? And you can feel it. And you're like, I think we all hit many forks actually, but you'll hit just certain wee forks, and you go, right, if I've got two decisions to make here, I can either go one way and my life's going to go like this, or I could either take this wee leapy faith and I could step out, and I could step out and see what happens.
Totally,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
And that's just kind of what I did there. Was it just? I put my notice in and went, fuck it.
Yep.
That's it. I kind of woke up one day and went, fuck this.
You never tapered off. You just went.
Nah, I had enough gigs booked. Where I was starting to take too many weekends off my work anyway. Do you know what I mean? I was starting to ask for too many days off, and I went, no.
Because I mean, in a lot of cases, you can go and do a Saturday, a Friday, and a Saturday night, and make what you would have made standing in that pub every night of the week. You know what I mean?
For 6 days.
And that's like obviously. Gigging's hard because you can't always guarantee that consistency. Do you know what I mean? But when you realise the time spent and like life fulfillment and stuff, do you know what I mean? That's a very important
been discussing getting a wee wedding band getting going, because if you're talking about making a living off your music or making a really decent living off your music, it's wedding bands.
Aye, absolutely. Aye, function bands like wedding,
function
and wedding, like, because obviously you've got like.
I'll play a bar mitzvah.
You can do just weddings and that, or you could be somebody that will do like nights in pubs and that as well. But if you take a full band in and you can get a lot of money for that, you know.
I've played many weddings. Played many weddings. I've played Ibrox.
Have you? Aye.
I played in the Mackenzie Suite in Ibrox, and I was the only Celtic fan invited to the wedding. The other one didn't turn up. He didn't show.
He didn't show at the wedding because
seriously.
God,
fuck that. I'm not going. Fuck him. Bunch of blue. I'm like, right. So I was the wedding singer. So my that's quite funny. They were going into liquidation at the time, right? And I was only jumping up to play 2 songs, right? We couldn't find a mic stand, and my first joke or my first few words as soon as I got the put with today was, we got a podium, you know, one of the reading podiums. One of them, we spun it round about, duct taped a fucking mic to it, and then set it up on top of the cameraman's box, because the podium was too wee. Right. Sat it on top of this. It was this kind of rickety fucking makeshift mic stand, and I'm kind of leading into it, trying to play my guitar, and I went up and what was the first thing you sold with the mic stands? Obviously you're going to make that joke. It went down like a lead balloon. The whole party. Now keep in mind, these are proper Rangers fans.
Well, it must be if they've got their wedding there.
Full wedding, everybody's wearing Rangers tartan and all that. It's not even the rain tartan, it's Rangers tartan. The Rangers. Right. Oh my God. Right. And this fucking gets better. So I was up, and first thing he sold the mic stands, and it just went fucking quiet, and somebody just for the back was, just play the fucking song. So as the bride and groom step up, I start with it's chasing cars, boldy, right, that wee bit. And I can feel the mic stand start to fucking shake, and just shifts a wee bit like that. And just starts to lean a wee bit to the right. Oh fuck, it's got to fall. Step the fuck away from it. I know, I'm trying to look to the because it's through a DJ's booth, right? I'm like, fucking, this guy's not got a clue.
No,
right?
man.
And I'm like,
that's what you were playing through?
That's what it was playing through, and I'm like, right, so they are, like, I'm like, I need to be a bit more gain. I'm like, you just don't got a fucking clue. So I thought, right, get through it.
You can't play a normal
you're
gig
leaning there,
a
right?
DJ mixer. That's
leaning there, feeling like Uncle Fester or something like that. Right. Try to play this song. I played that, and then I played I played that and it went really well, right? And the bride was greeting and all that. It was a bit of an emotional moment. And then I had to play Kings of Leon. Use somebody, I think it was. That. And I played that, and right at the very end of it, my nose hit the fucking mic. The mic fell off the podium. What that dumb? That was it. Mic drop. And I just fucking took my guitar off, and that was me. Fucking walked away. And just at the end, just as I'm walking away and I'm getting everything done, the fucking podium falls there. That was fun that night. But I managed to get through it.
That's a tough one, and I think they're funny to recount, man, but they're so important that you figure out a way to get through gigs like that.
I've never heard Simply the Best played so many times in one night.
In my life.
Right, at one point they were all sitting stoning when about me, right, like singing Simply. I was sitting at my table with it was my ex at the time, or my ex now, and sitting at the table and they just all stoning when about me, just singing into my face, right. So fucking I get fed up at one point. Like, fuck this, man. And I jumped up on the table. We were fully it, right. Every time you got into the toilet, it was like a queue for everybody. It was ridiculous. And my mate, who's the groom, kept turning and he stood on the side of the toilet going, my mum and dad's here. Get me easier day. Oh man, full of cat and everything. It's fucking mental. Right, so after all singing fucking Simply the Best into my face, I ended up jumping up on top of the table. Right, and I said something about being a Tim or something like that. I think they were chatting because they tell me to get up off the table, and I was like, you would shout at me for being a Tim. And then they're like,
she just shouted at it.
I didn't give a fuck at that point because I went up to the bar, right? See, the very first start of the night, I went up to the bar. And I was talking about this barman. The barman says to me, he says, do you like whiskey? I says, I quite like heavy whiskey, man. So why try this one? I said, let me try that. Let me try this wee whiskey. It's a bit of a fucking shot, like. Alright, that's nice, man. So why try this one? So let me try that one. That's £13, pal. You fucking what?
What, man?
What, did you just spot me walking in through the door? Like, aye,
He's smart.
What's your name, pal?
God,
Aye. Right, here. I'm going to get this Tim.
Have you been back there since?
Have I been back in Ibrox? No. Outside it, maybe. My pal stays right near there. I built a wall next to Ibrox subway station recently. But I've not been back in.
As close as you're
I've
getting.
not been back in Ibrox. I don't think they let me back in.
My God, man.
No, seriously, it's after that, right? Obviously the wedding's finished, right? And the wedding buses have arrived, right? As I said at the start of the story, they're going into liquidation. We're walking down the stairs and it just looks up at the wall. It's missing a 40. It's not a 40, right? It's a fucking 4 foot by fucking 4 foot fucking painting of Ibrox, right?
Somebody had scooped that up.
No. Well, say this is a 4 by 4 foot empty space,
right? I see it was gone.
Then I looks down the stairs and there's 3 of them fucking carrying this 40 down, right? The boy is the groom shouting at me, get it fucking back up. I'm at the top of the stairs going, you get into liquidation and that's the first thing you think to steal. Where are you putting it? Above the fireplace.
Oh my
fucking
God,
hell, man. And it's been there for like fucking, it's a picture of the old Ibrox, right? That's stashed away inside the vaults of fucking a stadium, you know what I mean? Not everybody gets into that suite, that's where all the hoity-toities go, but these cunts are right to put it in their living room in fucking Carverhill.
That's fucking wild, isn't it? Going to this wedding and fucking stealing paintings off the wall.
People say steal paintings off the wall.
That is wild, man. That's wild. That's certainly of all the stories I've asked folk about gigs on that one. That's one of the wildest.
My gig stories go fucking crazy, man. I've had some wild gigs, like. Just
the good and the bad. I'm sure that's the balance, isn't it? Like enough you get.
Some ones I can't talk about. I can tell you when we're not on the air, but
I'll be sure.
Because there'll be folk listening and stuff like that. I don't know. There was definitely some mental gigs.
Yeah, aye, man. No, that's good, man. Well, and it's good as well. Like you've got that buzz for it again. You know what I mean? You're at a point where you're pushing it now, you're going for it. So like, what's the steps for the future? Do you get any plans for recording or videos or anything like that? You got fucking band stuff on the go?
Funny enough, we have been in talks back with getting a wee band together again. Don't know if we're going to do cover stuff or maybe do some original stuff.
They both you get paid for the cover gigs.
Aye, we're kind of undecided about it all, but it's a wee project that's happening as of recording and stuff like that. I thought about it. I've recorded myself a few times, but I've just not gotten solid enough now. Even to make a 3-track EP. I'm no confident enough with my own stuff just yet.
You're still at that process where you're getting hashing it out.
I'm still getting back into the whole playing live and getting my idea like running about this.
Totally, man. Well, I think that's natural as well, but like I'm glad to hear it's something that
it's definitely something that's going to happen in the future. Do you know what I mean? Funnily enough, I've just applied for Buttefest.
Oh, I seen that actually. By the way, I seen that just as I was coming in today, the podcast today. I seen that.
The applications come up for it, so I've applied to play for that next year. We'll see what happens.
Aye, man.
That would be good. I want to get back on the festival scene again. I want to get back next year and go and play some festivals.
Mate. That's absolutely brilliant, man. I would love to be able to do something like that for next year, kind of festival season as well. You know what I mean? It's got to be I don't know, getting the right content together, getting the application forms together and that. But
aye,
I've never actually done one, so I'm going to have to.
They asked me for a link to my music, and I just gave them my TikTok handle. Right, because I don't have any links.
Is there a lot of music up there on your TikTok? What is it?
The TikTok
get all your socials out.
TikTok handle, Instagram handle is Funktifano. Funktifano. It's all one word.
Is that the place to catch up?
That's the place to catch up with me now. So I'll be on Instagram. I'm on and I'm on TikTok. The TikTok now is just the open mic stuff you see. So you'll see same name, Funktifano.
Funktifano on TikTok and Instagram.
Aye,
cool.
Get it followed. There's a wee thing called the Bucky Diaries as well. You can have a look at that. But that's another wee project that will.
The Bucky Diaries.
Oh,
I think we spoke about it briefly before. We'll definitely get into that.
We'll
time,
come
mate.
back.
Aye.
We'll come back when that project's back up and running again.
Aye. Excellent.
We'll discuss that. But give it a wee follow and just keep your eye out for it.
Excellent, mate. No, that's brilliant. The Bucky Diaries.
Funktifano on TikTok and Instagram.
No, that's great, mate. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Definitely. We'll get something else sorted and we can update everybody on all that as well. You know? Right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've made it all the way to the end, good on you. KC, thank you very much for coming
listen,
down,
thank you very much for having us.
I really appreciate it, mate. Know what I mean? It's a new venture and that, you know what I mean? But
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this,
I'm glad to hear that, mate. I'm glad to hear
folks
that.
Enjoyed some of my adventures.
Mate, I'm sure.
I'll tell you about the rest of the other ones.
Aye, that's it. We'll get in it. We'll get them. I'm sure I'll hear about it. I'm sure folk will be saying, "Hey, get him back to get the stories finished."
Much will it take?
No, that's it, mate. That's it, man. Sound right, folks. Thank you very much for following, liking, sharing, subscribing. All watches and subscribes and follows and likes are very, very, very much appreciated at this early stage of the podcast development. Please don't forget how important it is that you do that stuff for us and how much I very, very much appreciate it. Please come back and watch the next episode. See you later.
Welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer.